2024 CrossFit Games did not crown the fittest on earth.
Jayson Hopper is the fittest man on earth. Now, I've consistently made a distinction between the ceremonial title earned of fittest man on earth versus the actual literal fittest man on earth. I believe that the CrossFit Games is the only competition set up to find the literal fittest man on earth. I don't think that we do that every year. I think that certain conditions have to be met, such as how dominantly did you do it? Were there circumstances that could bring it into question? And sometimes it requires you to do it multiple times. For me, personally, to know that you're really the fittest man on earth. Jayson Hopper is the fittest man on earth this year, just like James Sprague was the fittest on earth last year.
Too many variables. It should really be the fittest on earth this year. And James was the fittest on earth this year.
Now, Jayson Hopper did this on a complete test, albeit there were a few issues. He did this under circumstances that were imperfect, which we'll talk about, but circumstances that were better than James. And he did it not in dominant fashion like Tia, but he looked good. There's definitely less questions about Jayson Hopper being the fittest man on earth than James Sprague as far as the literal aspect. And he's got the title and he earned it. We're going to do a little hot or not session. Hot. James Sprague really was the fittest man on earth in 2024. Now, there were a lot of people who were vocal because of the events that were removed, the cardio aspect, the cardio games that people called it. And for instance, Andrew Hiller's argument was that tests were removed.
How can you just remove 2 tests? I know how you can. I know why you had to. But when you do that thing, you no longer have the test of fitness.
The test that was determined to find out who the fittest man on earth was changed. And therefore, James can't be the fittest man on earth. This won't do anything to change that argument. However, what I will say is that there were a lot of people legitimately wondering how fit James really was. They felt like we weren't able to see how fit some people were because Adler was out, because of the crazy circumstances that happened and the mental toll of the tragedy, and because of events being removed. There were probably people who thought, man, James looked good, but maybe he's 7th, 9th, 10th, 3rd fittest man on earth, and he happened to win because of the circumstances. Those questions will be answered now because James Sprague took 3rd place in the deepest and best men's field of all time, and he was in it in the final event. Not only that, but the event that everybody in the media was talking about him potentially doing poorly on with the parallettes, where he was shooting for 15th. That was their goal. He took 6th and put himself in position, had a great final 2 events, and came up just short. He has solidified himself as someone who will be in contention for years to come. And I think he absolutely will win the title of fittest man on earth again. But he's got a lot of competition. So I'm done with the Hiller thing. I've gone back and forth, or mostly just forth, if that's where I'm saying over and over that James is the fittest. That is done. I understand Andrew's argument. I accept it. We disagree. Shout out to him for being right about Hopper and his predictions. James Sprague was inside the top 10 after the first 5 events when you calculate everything. He had an Instagram post without Sprague after the first 5 events. I also said that Ty Jenkins would beat Brute on the back squat. He did not beat Hopper or Dallin, even though he looked really good out there for a rookie.
You ever stood close enough to really see how big a lion is?
I'm not an expert. I just have opinions based on what I see and hear. I thought Sprague would win, and he didn't. If you have not seen the Hopper documentary-style YouTube video that Andrew made, he's got a link to it in his stories, but that will probably be expired by now. You can look it up. That is the video that made me start to like Hopper. And if you watch that video in conjunction with him winning the games, I think it'll be pretty cool.
But I think if he beat me at the games, then I would probably concede. And I would be forced to do that. And I would have to acknowledge that maybe he is fitter. And that idea makes me angry.
Next up, hot, a true test of fitness. It was not perfect. There is a couple things that I want to critique. However, it was a fantastic test until last year. And the finale was a great test of fitness to end on. Of course, there's going to be events that are going to be more exciting than others, but I thought that there was redemption in the programming, which brings me to my next hot, catharsis, redemption. We did it. We made it through the CrossFit Games without having anything crazy happen. Nobody got seriously hurt, and we are moving forward. That does not mean that we are forgetting Lazar by any means, but we have successfully completed the 2025 CrossFit Games, and I hope that we see the open numbers start to go up again, just like they had gone down after COVID and started going up again. We've weeded some people out.
I will remember you.
But it's time to start growing, and there's a lot of reason for excitement with the talk of the new ownership. And I thought it was a great games. Yeah, there were problems. It's going to be better next year. Thing is that coming off of the tragedy, they had to do what they had to do, which is going to lead me into one of my not hots or colds or whatever you want to call it. We'll talk about that in a second.
For those of you who weren't at the games, I do have Thirdsy t-shirts as well as sample packets. A little bit left. Send me a DM and the shipping's probably like $3. I'll send you the t-shirt as well as the Thirdsy samples. Thirdsy.com. You can use /KIR or code KIR. Just check that out. It definitely helps keep the channel going. Thanks, guys.
But the next hot is the spirit of the games. I loved seeing that award. I love the award itself, and I love who it went to.
And this year's winner is Colton Mertens.
Colton Mertens. Look, I was behind the scenes. That guy's attitude sets a good example for everyone, not just for kids. It sets a good example for me. When his jump rope broke, which was about the worst luck in the whole freaking thing, he didn't complain. He just leaned into it on social media. It happens. He said, oh, well.
Oh, well.
If that hadn't happened, I haven't done the math, but he'd probably be in the top 10. The award seemed to have meaning this year. And congratulations, Colton, on your 570-pound back squat after doing freaking deadlifts and running. Now for the not hot. I hope this thing never comes back to Albany. And it's not that I want to trash this city. It's not the right city for the CrossFit Games. It's jammed into this odd city that doesn't really know what it wants to be. Every freaking highway has like 70 different numbers. I got lost so many times. On one corner, you're in like an old town type area. On another corner, you're in the ghetto. The next thing you know, you're in a ritzy area where everybody's driving Mercedes. And then you turn around a corner and there's a bunch of government buildings. And there's like a big freaking mural with a dolphin in a huge building with a giant football on top of it and 3 identical towers. It's just weird. It's weird. If you live here, I'm sure it's great. But the way it was tucked away was not good for parking. Vendor Village was far away. There was 2 vendor villages, and the better one was in a different area. Not too far, I guess, but it was an improvement actually on Dickey's, because at Dickey's, you had to go stand in line for Vendor Village, huge line with metal detectors, go through that. You had to get rid of your drinks and your food, and then you could be there for 20 minutes. You have to go back to the stadium, stand in line again and do the same thing. And it was really hard to get back and forth. So it was actually better this year. I think that the area affected the attendance as well. Like, people in the city did not know what the CrossFit Games was, and the stadium was not that full. But, you know, after last year, I'm not sure how many people were wanting to take on the CrossFit Games and give them a deal that was suitable to CrossFit. So I think they got done what they needed to get done. and we're in, we're out, and we're moving next year to somewhere else. That would be a hot if it really is Carson. It's a rumor that is where they are aiming for. Going back to California, we'll see what happens, but I would like that a lot better. Also not hot, 10 events. Now, I said the programming was good. It was better than last year. I would have liked to see another bit of a little longer piece. I know everybody called it the cardio games last year. You had Chad and you had the Lake Day, which were both long events. But in addition to that, you had events missing. So it did skew towards cardio. But if you have 12 events, you can have another long event. And the real reason why I think that 10 events is right is two reasons. One, I do think that we missed something. The midline seemed to be a little bit neglected. I was really surprised that we don't have GHDs. I would have to guess that it has to do with the problems that they've had with the GHD standards and the way that enforcing those standards can be difficult, where you place the butt on the pad, but I was still surprised we didn't see him. But the big reason why I think we needed to have 12 or 11 events is because it helps mitigate issues like the pegboard issue, which is going to be our next not hot. Now, there are issues every year. Nothing goes perfectly. There are always things that happen that are unlucky to one athlete. And all we can do is try to mitigate those the best that we can. The question is, how bad are these screw ups? Are they bad enough that they actually call into question who the fittest on earth is? No, I don't think so, because Tia was able to mitigate it, and it just has to do with being fit enough that you can make it up on the other events. But this wasn't a small thing. And of course, some of these things you just don't see happening until they happen. There's always going to be mistakes. But the fact is that we don't know what the results would have looked like if everybody had a pegboard that was uniform and not wet. And the biggest indictment is that Tia Claire Toomey probably should have won that event, and yet she had to switch to legless because her pegboard was so slippery. And that I think JR from the Savan podcast said that all of the people who won were in a certain lane.
Lane 2 was when the team competition pegboard workout, which was just an AMRAP of pegboard, winner.
Mayhem.
Heat 1, winner of women. Heat 2, winner of women. Heat 3, winner of women.
That's a big deal. Ricky brought it up in his speech about taking second place. And some people were saying that it was poor decorum that he brought it up. I think it was fine. I agree with him. I would have liked to see what would have happened if everybody had a pegboard that was dry. I want to know those results. But at the end of the day, I accept what happened. Jayson Hopper is the fittest man on earth because you have to be fit enough to overcome those things that happen. And Tia was, and that's why she's literally the fittest woman on earth. You better believe that if Matt had got a wet pegboard, that he still would have won too. But it definitely was a major issue that could have ultimately affected the results. Other than that, we got through it. We are done with the 2025 CrossFit Games. Tia Claire Toomey and Jayson Hopper are the fittest man and woman on earth. It was a great event. We're moving forward as a community, and we are headed into 2026 for the Open that ultimately will lead to the games again, where we crown the fittest man and woman alive. And I couldn't be more excited for it. These are just my initial hot and not post thoughts about the games before I get on my flight. I'm going to get more into some of the athlete stuff later and have some behind the scenes coming out. But that is a wrap from Albany. Squat snatch 225. You're going to be on me. You're going to be right back like here. You're going to be on me. We need to have me and coach him do. Let's see how we do that.
Cool. Yeah, we'll do that.
All right, let's do it again. Sorry to be bossy. I'm trying to be mean for time.
You're good.
All right, so let's go through that. I'll cut you off and be like, wait, for the run, what do we want to do there?
Okay, so here's my account.
Here's your account. All right. Oh, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know how to unblock. So
All right. Blocking. Let's see.
Don't go.
Oh, man. I'm not going to do nothing. I'm not going to go to your messages or anything. All right, so.
Don't go my DM.
Shoot, this is really hard, man. I'm not going to go to your DMs.
It is hard. Come up. I think I know.
Wait.
Hold on. Let's go
Settings.
through it. Yeah,
Okay, settings. Here we go. Yep. I wonder if it's going to say how many people we have blocked here. Oh, yeah, 1,088. There it is.
Okay. He's one of them.
Okay. Oh, Travis, I remember you blocked him. That's funny. He's a good guy, but he's going to stay blocked.
Is it alphabetical? Where?
Sorry, John Woolley. It was John Woolley.
Oh.
How much time do I have? Can I have 2 minutes?
You have as much time as you
Okay,
want.
good.
You're gonna
because
put
I
the
was
work
feeling
in.
some pressure. All right, I'm putting the work
Put the
in.
work in.
I told John Young I was going to make this happen somehow.
You are making it happen.
All right.
As long as I don't have to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Bill. I know Bill. Sorry, Bill.
Leave the don't go.
I'm not touching nobody.
Okay.
I'm just finding John Young. This is a sacred process. Here he is. Oh my gosh.
Let me see.
Here we go. John Young. John Young, you are
Damn.
unblocked.
I wish.
Slowing him down. You're slowing him down. So here's the workout. We're going to start off on a 400-meter run.
On the run, how do you want to do that?
We can go at your pace. Sound good?
I think we can go your pace.
All right. All right. Hey, man. What are you doing?
Going at your pace.